You can start with that.
So, thank you for your kind introduction, Dr. Praveen. Good evening all. Today I am going to discuss a glycemic goal achievement, choosing an insulin per total control. This is my financial disclosure, and today's agenda is divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is total control of type 2 diabetes mellitus, role of insulin co-formulation, and second part is 2-in-1 solution, convenience of insulin co-formulation, and third part is my experience, a case of type 2 DM uncontrolled on multiple OADs. Let us discuss one by one. First one is insulin initiation, once a day IDEG-ASP versus once a day insulin glargine U100. Which insulin to choose when the patients are uncontrolled on multiple OADs? The question arises. So, here the study conducted from 0 to 26 weeks, and the subjects are selected 296 and on insulin naive patients with T2DM. Slides. Okay. Sorry for the technical glitch. And out of 296, 147 patients were put on insulin degludec aspart once a day along with existing OADs, and 149 patients were put on iGlar U100 once a day along with existing OADs, and the results were seen after 26 weeks. So coming to the results, once a day IDEG-ASP versus once a day iGlar U100. Coming to the HbA1c reduction, that is glycosylated hemoglobin reduction, the IDEG-ASP shows superior HbA1c reduction of 1.4% over once a day iGlar U100. And coming to the fasting plasma glucose control, both the IDEG-ASP once a day and once a day iGlar U100 shows similar fasting plasma glucose control because IDEG-ASP contains 70% of the basal component, that is insulin degludec. And coming to the postprandial glucose control, this slide shows before breakfast and 90 minutes after breakfast, both IDEG-ASP and once a day iGlar U100 shows similar control, and before lunch and 90 minutes after lunch similar control, and before dinner similar control, but after 90 minutes after dinner there is difference of 57 milligrams per deciliter escalation of blood glucose seen with once a day iGlar U100, which is controlled with IDEG-ASP. So IDEG-ASP significantly better control of postprandial glucose after major meal. So after bedtime and before breakfast, there is similar control of the fasting plasma glucose. So coming to the hypoglycemia incidence, there is a lower risk of hypoglycemia, about 27% confirmed hypos is seen with IDEG-ASP compared to the iGlar U100. So in patients with uncontrolled on OADs, insulin initiation must offer better efficacy without compromising on safety. This slide shows the blue color shows the IDEG-ASP and grey color shows the insulin glargine. 43% of the patients on IDEG-ASP achieved HbA1c less than 7% without hypoglycemia, and only 25% of patients on insulin glargine achieved HbA1c less than 7% without hypoglycemia. So, with IDEG-ASP, 72% more patients achieve their targets without experiencing hypoglycemia than once a day iGlar. Coming to the second part, 2-in-1 solution, convenience of insulin co-formulation. So options for insulin intensification. So Co-formulation versus basal plus bolus therapy. The patients with type 2 diabetes, 532 subjects uncontrolled on basal insulin, were put on Ida gas once a day along with existing OADs and Iglar U100 once a day plus insulin aspart plus existing OADs, and during first treatment period up to 26 weeks first period, and the intensified treatment is intensified from 26 to 38 weeks. During this period, Ida gas is made twice a day along with existing OADs and Iglar U100 once a day with insulin aspart once a day, made into twice a day or thrice a day along with existing OADs up to 38 weeks. So you can see the results after 26 weeks. Coming to the HbA1c reduction, both Ida gas once a day and basal plus regimen shows similar HbA1c reduction, that is 1.1%. Coming to the insulin dose of Ida gas and basal plus regimen, there is 12% significantly lesser dose requirement is seen with once a day Ida gas versus basal plus regimen. And coming to this slide, nocturnal hypoglycemias with Ida gas and Iglar plus IASP combination, there is a significantly lower risk of nocturnal hypos, that is 45% lesser hypos was seen with Ida gas when compared with the Iglar U100 plus IASP combination, basal plus combination. And coming to the last one, power of single solution. This Ida gas is a co-formulation, comes in one pen, that is FlexTouch pen, and this is basal plus, we have to use 2 pens, insulin glargine in one pen and insulin aspart in another pen. So 2 injections are required. This is most cumbersome to the patient. This is the Ida gas is most convenient to the patient. So coming to the practical recommendation, administered once a day Ida gas with the largest meal of the day. So initiate with 10 units of the Ida gas once a day with the most carbohydrate heavy meal of the day. That is the Ida gas initiation. So this is the practical recommendation of the Ida gas weekly titration using a simple algorithm. If the fasting plasma glucose target is not achieved, increment the dose of Ida gas by 2 units. If the fasting plasma glucose is within the target, maintain the same dose. If it is below the target, decrease the insulin by 2 units. So identify your patient's fasting plasma glucose target and adjust the Ida gas dose every week by 2 unit increments or decrements until fasting plasma glucose target is met. This is a picture of the FlexTouch device of the Ida gas, a unique insulin delivery device. It contains a large, easy to read scale and easy touch button with low injection force, the only pre-filled insulin pen with no push button extension. Even elderly people can easily inject this FlexTouch. End of the dose confirmation for the patient confidence is easy. And coming to the last part, my experience, uncontrolled on multiple OADs. So this is a case. The patient by name Mr. Anand, aged 55 years, working as a bank manager, male, has type 2 diabetes mellitus from 15 years, and he has sedentary lifestyle and his body weight is 90 kilograms his BMI is 31 kilograms per meter square, that is he is grade 1 obese, and his HbA1c is 9%, and fasting plasma glucose is 160 milligrams per deciliter, and postprandial glucose is 245 milligrams per deciliter. His major meal is breakfast according to the patient, and his blood pressure is 150 by 90 millimeters of mercury, and his creatinine is 1.1 milligrams per deciliter, and estimated glomerular filtration rate is 65 ml per minute. And other relevant parameters are: an eye examination, he has non-proliferating diabetic retinopathy. In brief, the patient bank manager has sedentary lifestyle with long duration of diabetes and uncontrolled diabetes and uncontrolled hypertension, and with complications, microvascular complications like NPDR and stage 2 diabetic kidney disease. So, how to tackle this patient we will discuss. And coming to the medical history, including other comorbidities, patient had already had coronary artery disease and he underwent PTCA 1 year ago. So, he had macrovascular disease complication also. So, coming to the drug history, currently he is on tablet Glimepiride 2 mg and Metformin 500 mg, one tablet twice a day, and tablet Saxagliptin 100 mg once a day, and tablet Telmisartan 40 mg once a day, tablet Ecosprin 75 mg once a day, and tablet Rosuvastatin 10 milligrams once a day. So, I strongly condemn the use of Saxagliptin in this case, as the patient had already CAD. Saxagliptin has no CV safety studies and it precipitates heart failure. So, I don't recommend Saxagliptin in this case. And coming to the other patient concerns, his cardiologist has advised him that his HbA1c should be below 7% to prevent further complications. So, coming to the treatment interventions, lifestyle interventions and any special advice. So, first part of the treatment is LSM and TLC, that is diet, exercise, the reduction of weight and cessation of smoking and cessation of the alcohol if any. And coming to the medications will replace the Saxagliptin with Linagliptin, as the patient has already diabetic kidney disease. The wonderful gliptin, renal gliptin is the Linagliptin. We will replace with the Linagliptin 2.5 milligrams plus Metformin 500 mg twice a day. And I recommend a SGLT2 inhibitor in this case, either dapagliflozin or empagliflozin, to prevent hospitalization for heart failures or to prevent 3-point MACE further, or GLP-1 receptor agonist if the patient is affordable in this case. And coming to the insulin initiation, the injection Ryzodec 10 units should be given subcutaneously 5 to 10 minutes before breakfast. And coming to the hypertension management, there is no change of tablets here. I will add Telmisartan 40 mg. Along with that, I will add 50 milligrams of metoprolol or 5 milligrams of bisoprolol to maintain hypertension, and I will add one diuretic chlorthalidone for CV safety to maintain the hypertension, to prevent further complications of the retinopathy and cardiovascular disease. And tablet Ecosprin 75 milligrams once a day to continue, and continue tablet Rosuvastatin 10 milligrams. And practical considerations for initiation of insulin therapy with OD gas. So, key points discussed during patient counseling for insulin initiation. So, just 10 minutes brief counseling is required before initiation of the insulin. A lot of fear and myths and anxiety regarding the insulin to most of the patients. So we should alleviate their anxiety by giving brief counseling and the importance of the timely insulin initiation, which prevents the complications, further complications. So we should motivate the patient and we should initiate with low dose and we'll titrate the insulin dose. And coming to the major meal chosen and how. This should be done by the patient, by interacting with the patient, and as the patient is a bank manager, breakfast is his largest meal. We should start the Idagas with the largest meal. So his lunch is frugal, and as he does not get time as is his dinner. So this also can be decided by self-monitoring of blood glucose by glucometer tests. And device chosen and why. Ryzodec is a flex test device was chosen to give him with a good experience with initiating insulin. A single shot achieves all. And rationale for initial Idagas dose, a co-formulation was ideal in controlling his fasting as well as post-meal blood sugars all in one shot, and it also reduces the HbA1c. Advice on SMBG and dose titration. Fasting plasma glucose and 2 hours post-meal 3 times a week to increase the dose by 2 units until post-meal gets below 180 milligrams per deciliter. So what is the follow-up advice? To review the fasting blood sugars and 2-hour plasma postprandial blood sugars after 30 days and bring SMBG values along with the patient to monitor the blood sugar levels and to adjust the dose. So this shows the progression to good glycemic control in our case. At the initiation, we started the Idagas with breakfast 14 units, and after 1 month we escalate the dose to 16 units. After 2 months it further escalate to 18 units, and we stabilize the insulin in 18 units after 3 months. At the initiation, the pre-breakfast, the blood sugars are 160, after 1 month 145 it has come down, after 2 months 130, after 3 months it has come down to 120, and post-breakfast from 245 to 200 after 1 month, 190 after 2 months, and 180 after 3 months. Pre-lunch is 180 at the initiation, one month, after 1 month 170, 160 and 140, and post-lunch is 230 at the initiation, after 1 month 220, 200 and 185, and pre-dinner at the initiation time it is 160, and after 1 month 150, 150, 140, and post-dinner from 225 at the initiation it has come down to 210 after 1 month, 200 and 180 after 3 months, and the reduction of HbA1c at the initiation HbA1c was 9%, and it has come down to 7.2% after 3 months. That is desirable HbA1c to prevent further complications. And coming to his body weight, there is no much weight gain with this Ryzodec, same as 90 and 90.7. There is no much difference in the weight gain. So coming to the summary of the case. Uncontrolled type 2 DM with coronary artery disease. Need for tight glycemic control. So co-formulation the most effective and the convenient choice. So importance of the glycemic control under current situation. Well managed diabetes matters, particularly during this COVID-19 pandemic. According to the American Association of the Clinical Endocrinologists, diabetes and high glucose levels are associated with increased complications, respiratory failure and mortality in hospitalized patients with COVID-19. According to the American Diabetes Association, your risk of getting very sick from COVID-19 is likely to be lower if your diabetes is well controlled. And according to the IDF, that is International Diabetes Federation, people with pre-existing medical conditions such as diabetes, heart disease and asthma appear to be more vulnerable to becoming severely ill with the COVID-19 virus. And last one is Research Society for Study of the Diabetes in India, that is RSTI. When people with diabetes do not manage their diabetes well and experiencing fluctuating blood sugars, they are generally at risk for a number of diabetes related complications. So coming to the summary. Evidence supports use of once-a-day Ida gas for insulin initiation as it offers superior glycemic control with safety as compared to once-a-day basal insulin. And Ida gas offers the convenience of single device as a co-formulation, providing similar control with improved safety as compared to basal plus bolus regimen. In routine clinical care, Ida gas is a simple, safe, effective solution for initiating insulin therapy in people with type 2 diabetes mellitus. Thank you for your patient listening.